topic is, when and why was the Indian National Congress established? Indian National Congress is the oldest party in India. It was established when India was ruled by British. When was it established? When was it formed? Why was it formed? Let us read about this in this topic. Nationalism was on the rise amongst the Indians since the revolt of 1857. We discussed in the 1857 because it failed, but it unified the Indians and made them patriotic. They made them more patriotic and more dedicated to fight for India, to free India. Influence of Western education, the American War of Independence and the French Revolution had an effect on the minds of the educated masses. Now what is this? Influence of Western education. Now when the British started to make schools in India, then many Indians educated there, and they found that we are in the clutches of ill practices, now which we discussed about sati and all, ill practices, and this was the big hindrance of the Indian society for this development. So they thought, now American War of Independence, because Indians were influenced by all these things. Firstly, Western education, now American War of Independence. American War of Independence, America was also ruled by British. So Americans together, they came together and they fought against British, and finally they drove away British from the American land. And this gave inspiration for Indians, that they thought, when America can unite and they can drive away the mighty Britishers, why can't we? They also got energy from this. And the French Revolution. In France, King Louis XVI, in France, King Louis XVI, he was a very cruel ruler. He was torturing his subjects, and the subjects, his public whom he ruled, they were facing poverty. They were not having any amenities, and King Louis Philippe was taking irrational decisions and all. So the people of France, they united together and they brought down the monarchy, the rule of King Louis XVI. They brought down the rule of monarchy and established the self-rule. So Indian people, Indian masses or Indian public was inspired by the French Revolution, also had an effect on the mind of the educated masses. The Indians by now had realized that the English had their own interest and treated India as a colony. Indians now thought that we are of no concern to the British. The only sole purpose of the British people was to take away our resources, to use us as animals, to use us as fodder for war, means to send us to war and to die us in war. We were just colony. They were not interested to live in India. Just after everything, the resources are drained, they will just leave India to its own interest, to their own condition, in poverty, in sickness, in hunger, and they will go away. And it so happened also. When they left India, India was very poor, India was sick, India was hungry, unemployed, nothing was there in India. And India, it was a very big job for the then leaders to build today's modern India. So, colony. In 1885, A.O. Hume. So, in 1885, A.O. Hume, along with Dadabhai Naoroji, A.O. Hume, he was in British, Dadabhai Naoroji and Dinshaw Wacha, they together, along with some other people and some other founded the Indian National Congress. They found the Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress initially acted as a platform for Indians to raise their grievance to the British. This Indian National Congress was formed to address, to tell the British that we are having our problems. That grievance means problem. To tell the British that we are having our problems. However, the demands of Congress was not addressed. British did not pay any heed. British did not pay any, they did not listen to the demands of Congress. Were not addressed by the British, and with time, these grievances took the shape of mass movement of freedom. When they did not listen, now if because when Indians through they had now made Indian National Congress, and all the Indians major these were eminent personalities. When they told their problems to the British government and British did not listen, now they together it amassed, it formed a big anger, and then mass movement of freedom. Now all the people, whether farmer, whether students, whether ladies, whether the old ladies, all of them participated together, and a big freedom movement started, and thus freedom movement started. Now see your book. Our next topic is what led to the partition of Bengal in 1905. A big turning point in Indian history. The British went India. Just if you see the map of India before the British, India was so big. The territory of India was so big that the part of Asia was named as Indian subcontinent. A big landmass. And before the British went, they just divided India into parts. They divided Bengal into East Bengal and West Bengal. They divided Punjab into West Punjab and Punjab. It is Pakistan and this one. They cut out Afghanistan, and thus India was cut into pieces by British. They just divided India and they went away. And that resentment is still there in the people of all the divided parts of India. Now coming to the book, in 1905 the British decided to divide Bengal in two parts, Hindu dominated and Muslim dominated. Hindus and Muslims are very much united. People never knew that this is Hindu, this is Muslim. The partition, the feeling of Hinduism and Muslim came from the British people. They always instigated, they always told that Hindus are different, Muslims are different. And they divided not politically, they divided the country on the basis of religion. Hindu dominated place, Muslim dominated place. Dominated means where Hindus are in much number, it is Hindu dominated, and where Muslims live in large number, it is known as Muslim dominated areas. The intention was to implement the policy of divide and rule. The Queen of England, she told that these Indians are united now. They are together, and at any moment they can throw away the Britishers. So they thought that now we should divide them. We should make them Hindu and Muslim. We will make them to fight and let them fight and we will rule. So divide and rule among the Indians. Thousands of people protested against the partition under the leadership of Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai and Bipin Chandra Pal. The picture of this trio, it is there in the book, just have a glance. So these were the leaders, and they led that you don't come as Hindu, you don't come as Muslim. You come as Indian. Let us get united, let us fight against the British, and let us throw them out. And finally, they protested against the British rule. And even the children, even the young, old, I'm time and again telling you, it was not a movement of only soldiers, not only of leaders. Totally all the public, all the mass, all the Indians, they participated, and their only motto was, British, you get out from India. Now children, the last topic of this chapter is, what was the Swadeshi movement, which was in 1905. Swadeshi, Swa means own, Desh means land, which is made in our own country, thing of our own country. Swadeshi movement was initiated in August 1905 after the British decided on the partition of Bengal. Now Bengal was partitioned. Now to the movement which was started by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal and Lala Lajpat Rai, to punish them, to teach Indians a lesson that if you will come against us, we will do this. They partitioned Bengal. Bengal was partitioned. East Bengal, which is Bangladesh, and West Bengal, which is in India. East Bengal went, it became an independent country. It was the Britishers which cut East Bengal, and it was part of India. Now Indians were also, this made the Indians very angry that just remember, I will come to your house and I will give one of the room of your house to someone else. The room of it is your room. It is made by your mummy papa. Your parents have made it. They have invested money. It is your land, everything. And I will give away one room to other person. And from that day onwards, you will tell, this is my house. You will feel angry or not. Just the same case. Swadeshi movement was initiated in August 1905 after the British decided on the partition of Bengal. After the partition of Bengal, now the leaders and the people of India, they decided we will not use British goods. We will use goods made from our own country. It was a protest against the usage of British goods. Now it was an angry protest. Protest means we don't want to use your things. It was to show off anger, a way of showing anger. British made goods. Swadeshi in Sanskrit means of one's own country. Leaders in the anti-partition movement, famously called Bal, Lal and Pal, decided to use only Indian goods and to boycott British goods. Now they wore only khadi. They even to make the British, to boycott the British thing, you will learn in the later chapters that Mahatma Gandhi had made Dandi March for salt satyagraha, it's known as, which one you will read in the later chapters. So, foreign goods. Many women and students also participated in the movement. Now, in the starting of the video, I am telling you this thing, that this did not make, only the soldiers, only the men did not become angry. Even the atrocities of the British was felt by children, even children, little kids, even by the old ladies. The persons, old men who cannot walk, they were also coming out from their house to fight against British. So, participated in the movement. The British used the force to crush the Swadeshi movement. Now the British, they brought their soldiers and they wanted to curb this movement, this mass movement. Where if you'll find the old videos, black and white videos shown in TV, in the archives, you will see huge number of Indians are coming out to fight against British. Just protest, not fighting, protest. To tell, to voice their anger to British that you have done enough is enough. Now please get out from our country, we want our own rule. So, Swadeshi movement, but the sale of English goods fell drastically as Indian mills concentrated more on making Swadeshi product. Now the British movement, because the British what they were doing, they were taking away the raw material of India. They were making the finished good and bringing and selling here in high prices. Now the Indians were not buying British goods. They were using the Indian made goods. As a result, the British products were not selling, and this made the British angry. Swadeshi movement was described by Mahatma Gandhi as the soul of the self-rule in the country. It is Mahatma Gandhi, he incited that this is the soul, because a thing which is made in our own country will be cheaper than which is coming from outside. Yesterday only just I was watching news, and our Prime Minister, he was again emphasizing for our own local made things. Swadeshi was time and again, Swadeshi is always.
The misery of these poor masses prompted nationalists like Lokmanya Tilak, Aurobindo Ghosh, Lala Lajpat Rai and V.O. Chidambaram Pillai to initiate the Swadeshi movement in 1905. Swadeshi means belonging to one's own nation, and this Swadeshi movement was an economic strategy that appealed to the Indian masses to use only goods produced in India instead of those being imported from Britain. The Indian people not only bought and wore khadi, but also threw the mill-made clothes into bonfires set up on the roads to show their resentment to the British oppression.
So children, there is a small snippet here. I just forgot to mention you that in the 1857 when all were struggling against British, here Tipu Sultan is also known as the Tiger of Mysore, is considered to be the most powerful ruler in South India. He was considered as ever had. He was considered the tyrant by British because he was known as the Tiger of India, and he was a true Indian patriot, and he was so furious against the British. Tyrant means he was very furious against, he was cruel. They considered him cruel because he was killing the British English and just he was driving them out of India. So British, and was known for the resisting the British conquest in southern state. So he was the one of the prime character in South India who stopped the British from coming to South India. So children, the gist of the chapter, what we studied in chapter 1 is in 1498 Vasco da Gama came to India. He exports India to Europe. After that, after him many colonies, when many East India companies from French, Dutch, Danish came, and in 1600 What happened? The East India Company, it was formed. The English had come to India. They formed East India Company. After that, they started to become the master of the land. And finally, first they fought with the Nawab of Bengal in Battle of Plassey, and then the British fought with the United Army in Battle of Buxar. Then they ruled all over India, and they were torturing the Indians. The first revolt of 1857 was initiated by the then Sepoy Mangal Pandey, Rani Lakshmibai, Tantia Tope, Nana Sahib. All of them joined, but it was curbed by British. And then in 1885, Indian National Congress was born, so that they can address their problems to the British, but the British did not listen, and instead they partitioned Bengal. After the partition of Bengal, the Swadeshi movement started, and till this much we have learned in this chapter. Please go through these small snippets, and you will find that what problems, what responsibilities, and what troubles did the Indians take to free India.